So RWM took place at the NEC, the big annual Recycling and Waste Treatment Conference and trade show. It's a great opportunity for us to catch up with some of our members after the summer holidays together on our stand, and also a great opportunity for some of the team to share some of the insights on the policy work that we've been working hard at for the members. I was pleased to be asked to chair a panel with some of the members of the Circular Economy Taskforce who've clearly been working very hard this year, engaging lots of different stakeholders from lots of different sectors, pulling together what's going to be in the consultation on the government's circular economy strategy, hopefully coming out later in the autumn. And it's going to be really critical that whatever comes out in that strategy really is deliverable and has some concrete steps that can be turned into actual practical action that make a real impact and difference in the real world. One of the priority sectors for the Circular Economy Taskforce has been plastics, and it's really critical that we do see some action in this area because it's been a really hard time for plastics recycling in the UK. We've seen plants closed, jobs lost, capacity being mothballed. It's been a really challenging time. Part of that is to do with competition from low-grade exports as an option, and we really need to see some tightening of the rules around the PRN system to help address that distortion to the market. Another fundamental problem in the plastics market and sector at the moment is around the end demand. And making sure that we are using recycled content and recycled polymer. The plastics tax, as it's been introduced, the whole purpose of that was to support UK plastics recycling. It's clearly not working at the moment, so we clearly need to be doing more, and hopefully we'll see something on that in the budget. There's also a lot of immediate policy change coming into place in the near term. In October, the invoices are going to go out to producers for the first packaging EPR fees to be paid. What we're hoping to see is we now really are moving into the delivery phase of EPR. We really need to see that having a meaningful impact and a meaningful change on recycling services. Since April, Simpler Recycling for Businesses has been live. The Environment Agency has taken quite a pragmatic and light touch approach to enforcement of the new requirements to businesses across the country. But what's really important now is that we make sure that we have a proper plan to increase enforcement and to move to proper compliance across the whole of the sector. Since my last vlog, the government has published its response to the consultation, the 2024 consultation on the UK emissions trading scheme. And this was a great result for ESA and our members as officials and ministers have listened to some of our concerns about the original proposals. And we're now going to see the implementation of a voluntary monitoring period beginning in January that will help to develop emissions factors so that the policy can be implemented in a practical and pragmatic way. And our members will of course be participating in that period to help DESNZ, the government, to get the data it needs to make a success of the scheme. Decarbonisation is one of the key strategic priorities for the association. An important part of that is working out how we can reduce carbon emissions from waste treatment. And the application, the use of heat networks, energy from waste, is an important part of solving that puzzle. This autumn, ESA is going to be updating its heat network prospectus, which gives some information and context to heat network developers on the potential for heat from the different facilities across the EFW network. We'll also be running a webinar and publishing a new report which sets out some of the potential for using heat networks with EFW. On the subject of EFW, an increasingly pressing concern for operators across the sector is the massively increased prevalence of nitrous oxide canisters ending up in the waste stream and causing explosions at plants. One of our members has reported that they suffered around £2 million worth of damage in the last year alone as a result of nitrous oxide canisters showing up. So this is an area where we really do need support of local authorities to do something about this. And ESA is working closely with some of our local authority colleagues to work out how we can improve separation and segregation so that these items don't end up causing damage at facilities. Another pressing concern right across the sector is, of course, fires. Fires in particular resulting from the inappropriate disposal of waste electricals and batteries. This is just an increasingly endemic issue across the sector, causing ever-increasing amounts of damage and disruption. And we really do need to see an urgent overhaul of some of the regulations to address this before we have many more serious accidents. In September, we published a policy briefing on waste fires caused by batteries, and we are going to be stepping up our engagement with parliamentarians and policymakers to try and really raise awareness about this issue and make sure that we really do finally see some proper action that actually makes a difference. At the start of summer, Treasury and HMRC consulted on some quite radical proposals on landfill tax and phasing out the lower rate to try and address some of the waste crime, some of the fraud that's become increasingly entrenched in some parts of the industry. We're expecting to see the outcome of that consultation along with next steps published alongside the budget towards the end of November. So we'll see then what exactly Treasury decides to take forward. And when the budget comes out, it would of course also be really great to see some strong action on the plastics packaging tax, ramping up the recycled content in particular to make it a bit more binding and to give it a bit more teeth to help support the struggling plastics recycling sector. This is the time of year when tickets go on sale for ESA's annual lunch, which always takes place on the last Friday in November. Booking forms are available on our website, esauk.org, and we look for, it's always a highlight of the calendar, and we really look forward to seeing our members there at the end of the year.